Hello there! Today I want to show off something I've been working on for a little bit. Just get up a little high so I can demonstrate it in full force. Hit reload to load the data pack I've been working on. And in a moment, you will see a whole array of armor stands flying away and buildings summoning out of seemingly nowhere. Yes, I am rebuilding an old data pack, or not even a data pack. Back then, you had to import it through MC-Edit. It was like a whole bunch of like redstone everything. This is just a data pack. It loads in. You just throw it into the data pack folder, hit reload, and it's so much better than the old version. It works so well. Actually, in a second here, let me pull up an old video from like 2014. Like this video is so old. It was on my old YouTube channel. And you'll see this was back when my computer was really crusty. It was really limited. If I recall tabbing through this video a bit, yeah. Well, you can see I've upgraded my system a bit since then. I was demonstrating. Let me find a part in this video where you can see just how much like it's upgraded being put into a data pack. This old thing had to be pasted into a world at 0, 0. Like it had this giant bedrock foundation it had to be in. The towers themselves were pretty terrible. Like everything about the old version. Yeah, here I am demonstrating how to import it. This old version, awful by comparison. And it was so limited. It was just it had a limited range. It could only spawn like 60 into the world. And now this one is infinite. This new version, like you can just keep going forever, and new towers will spawn on the edge of your viewing distance. Granted, I think you have to play with like at least 8 chunk radius, and I'm still trying to look into how I can maybe make it so that if you have a higher render distance, it'll spawn them further away. There's also these weird glitches, which I cannot quite figure out why the lighting doesn't update. I've tried many things to try to update the lighting when they spawn in. You can tell it doesn't happen on every single tower. Some towers are just completely fine. You can see things spawned in there already. Yeah, it's really weird. If anybody has any clue as to why, I'm assuming it's because it loads on the edge, but I don't know. It's really inconsistent. That's one of the few bugs I'm not happy about. You see, it all depends on which block it spawns on. It has different biome types. Actually, these towers are up really high. What other things? Yeah, I'm not releasing this quite yet, as cool as it is. By the way, it works in 1.13. So even if in 1.14 they add the ability for people to add in their own structures into the world, people in 1.13, if they want to use this, will have a sort of limited option. I think I'm going to allow people to take the code if they credit me and add their own buildings in. One interesting thing is, and I can demonstrate how these buildings are built later. Yeah, the monsters inside are randomized. The loot is also randomized based on various loot tables. I think this one might be based on pyramid loot tables. There's a bit of a limit to how much I can randomize the monsters without using spawners. The main reason I'm using just spawning them in randomly is so that if there's holes in the ceiling, it's a little weird to randomize these above the surface. Oh, sorry for the little lag spikes. My game does not like loading in worlds. I'm gonna try to optimize some of the ways I get it to spawn in. But yeah, my game just lags like this, like normal. But yeah, spawning these things on the surface, there's the chance that they're too lit inside to spawn entities. So I just have them automatically spawned in randomly. Also, yeah, it uses structure blocks, so there's this degradation to it. Again, random loot. I know I'm like going back and forth, like a little unorganized here talking about it, but I am just a little excited to demonstrate this, just everything about this. And yeah, you can keep flying in the world. There are a couple bugs, like I need to optimize how it spawns in. There's a couple things that make the game lag a little too much. Um, I'm gonna see if I can't like improve its detection. For example, forests like over here, you'll see they spawn like around the coasts and not so much in the forest. I need to find a way to be able to quickly detect, maybe with like a row of armor stands, or maybe just a detection under the armor stand at several heights. Detect the dirt under the trees to see if I can't get them to spawn more likely in forests. Because right now it uses spread players to find the height. And when it spread players it on top of a tree, it just detects leaves and doesn't spawn anything. What was the other thing I had to optimize about? There were a couple little bugs. Oh, one odd bug is because it relies on armor stands. I think some bits of lag can, yeah, you can like outrun it if you're at least in creative mode. You're able to move fast enough to sort of outrun the armor stands occasionally. It's a little weird. It doesn't break it completely. It just means like if say buildings stop spawning, you have to run back, and then once that you see them spawn back in, you run again. It's just a little obnoxious bug that I'm gonna work out before I release this if I can manage. Yeah, you can see more biomes. If it's stone, it's these stone structures. If it's grass, it's these grass structures. These towers I kind of just have set to spawn almost everywhere. Whoa. Whoa. Not very efficient placement of a tower, within logic, but a cool placement in, video game standards. That's actually surprising. It's random enough that I'm not familiar yet. I can actually, okay, so I should probably explain a little bit of, like, how this works. Obviously, you can tell it's using, like, it's teleporting armor stands off in the distance. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, you can see them pop into existence. I'll make these invisible when I release this tower thing. Oh, you can see there it's glitching out a little bit and going back and forth. That's part of the bug I was talking about. Yeah, it's a little odd. They like appear for a second in the distance, and then towers appear. So if I go into game mode spectator, I can actually show you. So this won't overlap back to where you have already been. If I go this way, like there's no way that it can overlap and start putting more buildings in. It only puts buildings in when it generates. To do this, I am using basically a binary detection system where the first thing it does is place a barrier at bedrock level. And if it detects a barrier at bedrock level on another pass, it deletes itself and doesn't generate another structure. So basically this system of having these appear, which if I outrun it a little bit, see if spectator mode can move just a little too fast. Oh, I just remembered. You have to be 128 blocks away. Yeah, you can kind of see them appearing. Yeah, if you go under bedrock, you're out of range for it, so I can't really demonstrate that. My bad. Yeah, so it basically uses that as a binary thing. You should basically never be able to see the final layer of bedrock. As you can see here, bedrock's pretty chaotic, but generally speaking, you can almost never get there. And also, it's a barrier block, so a player can never break it, nor can they... Like, they can see through it, but it's not going to really impact gameplay using this sort of binary setup. Like, I'm trying to see if I can even find... Like, it's very rare, but occasionally, on a very rare instance, there can be a hole that far down. But otherwise, that shouldn't be a problem. That is basically how I'm preventing it from overlapping. Also, the randomization for certain things, like what monsters are in it, the chests and whatnot. The randomization method is actually using the bedrock pattern of the world. I was using the bedrock pattern because it's the only real consistent way of, like, if I use for example, say, like, part of the randomization is deciding if it should put a tower here. If I were to just, you know, do it on a timer, that would mean the timer, it's very hard to build a timer that actually is consistent, or like a timer randomizer, I should say. Basically, anything like that you could do, it will accidentally manipulate the RNG by moving different speeds in the world. So I had to use a consistent, which is why I decided on the Bedrock, because the Bedrock has very useful. I'm generating new chunks here. Sorry, my this isn't due to my tower generator. This is just my computer chugging really hard. Also, I really wish I knew what land was here, because this is an amazingly tall tower. Yeah, the bedrock is consistent enough to prevent all those, like, different issues. And it's got a pretty decent curve, so, like, for example, this is basically, I think, the second highest frequency of towers I can get it to spawn using Bedrock's randomization. If I release it, the towers will be spawned at a lot slower of a rate. I'm really curious here, sorry. I'm getting sidetracked with this video. This video is going to be pretty long. The way I have this spawned, it should... No, maybe it did just replace everything. I'm very curious. This feels like this would have been like a really rare structure to build. That's one of the things I love about this, is even the person who being the person who made this, it's really exciting to see, like, the weird places it'll put towers. I'm debating if I will release this one, which just has the towers. There were a couple other structures I wanted to add, such as floating islands. I wanted to see if I could make my own village with some other fancy stuff I've been working with. I may just release this version once I figure out and optimize everything about it. Boy, there's so much to talk about, and this video is getting to be a bit long. Maybe I'll save more details for another video. Maybe the video where I, like, explain, like, how to add your own, because I would find it fine for people to release their own versions of this with their own towers, because it is pretty easy to build a tower for it and add it to the randomizer. So I think the one last thing I want to talk about in this video, I am going to see you in just one moment. And back. I just wanted to quickly show how I get the random vines added on. It's all using structure block based effects. Basically, both of these are saved. And first, when it generates the structure, it'll place this one with such and such integrity, and then this one with a lot less integrity overlapped on top of it. And it's basically just an overlapping process. The interesting part is how I get the randomly placed loot and monsters is I use armor stands inside of the buildings with labels on them, such as spawners and chests. This is pretty easy. If I do release this for people to, like, make their own with, I will offer the commands for spawning these specific spawners so that it's pretty easy for you to add your own. Basically, using the randomizer setups, it just, you know, picks, I think, up to three monsters, or maybe it's up to 5, I can't remember. Up to 5 monsters and up to 2 chests. On different curves of chance. Everything about this is pretty simple. Oh yeah, also don't forget to turn on entities when you add them. But, you know, I'll probably have a full tutorial. I don't really need to talk about, like, all the intricate details on how to do it yourself right now. This is a fun one because, yeah, all these different pieces of, like, snow, so that it gives height differences. You know, it's nice and default, nice looking, and this adds extra layers on top, like it's been here a while. This is by far the weirdest one. The amount of, like, extra pieces for the water-based towers are just... oh my goodness. I'm gonna go back to the other world real quick. And I'm back. Yeah, I think that's basically all I wanted to talk about. Like, this is basically my hyped. Oh, I just want to show this off real quick, and it's definitely not like a quick and concise video so far. I probably actually should demonstrate this being shown in another world real quick just to show it like how quickly I can like install all this. The one last thing I want to get out of this real quick. There we go. Yeah, I really like how these water towers come out because they've got like the lily pads and they spawn witches. Actually, let me find an ocean. Let me see if I can find an ocean. Or I could probably just spawn in. You know what? Yeah, 1 second. Okay, so here I am. I'm gonna quickly make a new world. And while that world is loading, I am going to find the save file, open the Datapacks folder. Sorry, you can't see any of this. I'm gonna wait till the world is finished loading before I paste it in. I have not yet tested what happens if it's already in the world while the world is loading its initial stuff. Could break, could not. Who knows? Once it loads up here, here we go. Oh, this is an interesting spot. Get a little brighter real quick. I'm not really happy with this location, and this is a good demonstration that unlike my old one, I don't need to be at 0, 0. So let me fly around a little while and find a nice, like, flatter zone, just where I can demonstrate this real quick one more time from the reload. I mean, mountains are kind of okay, but a little not as flat as I wanted. Ah, here's a field. Field might be good. Yeah, alrighty, this is a good spot. Let me load it up real quick, just for... I just want to get a nice clean video of them spawning in real quick. And also kind of wanted to demonstrate that, no, my tower generator isn't why my world generation was being so awful. My computer just, you know, suffers a little bit. Yeah, let's get on the hill. Paste it into the folder. And, yeah, I just want to fly up. And hit reload. Whoa! Again with these tall ones. Ah, here's an ocean. Oh, I think I did the thing, though. 1 second. I definitely think I just did the thing where I outran it somehow. Yeah. Really wish I could fix that. But that's one of the reasons I haven't... Oh my goodness, that's a lot of houses. That's one of the reasons why I haven't released this yet. Trying to fix that. One thing is, I use spread players to find the height for most of these. However, for the oceans just kind of get placed in. I was just curious about that. Yeah, the oceans, it basically just detects surface level and places it in there. So it's on a grid pattern for the ocean. For the other ones, it's on a slight offset from a grid pattern, so it looks more random. That's the one major limitation of this. Actually, if I use spread players over an ocean, the game lags like crazy. I might want to try to find a better system than spread players. Also, even though I'm going to be releasing this for 1.13, I will make an updated version for 1.14, which, right before recording this video, just announced a new tower for the Illagers, I think it was, and some form of jigsaw block, which I will likely try to incorporate into the system. However, if 1.14 also gives us control to add our own towers into the world generation, I might just update this to be towers using the existing world generation. This is interesting. One of these on top of one of these structures. Oh, that's really weird. Wait, did that? No, it only replaces air blocks. Yeah, like air and water blocks only get replaced by the poles. So, oh gosh. Oh, that is weird. Discovering something new every day about this thing. How far does this go through this building? It goes all the way through! Oh, that is cool. Yeah, but I will definitely use the jigsaw system with the tower so I can add things around them like Mojang has done with its demonstration. Also, if they give us a better way of spawning entities in, I will definitely use it. My main annoyance is right now I am using the summon command. And the summon command has a level of simplicity to it. Like, unlike a spawner, I have to add all the NBT data myself. There's a lot of skeletons in these. Yeah, I have to add all the NBT sort of data in myself, which means for the way this randomizer works, the variations of the enemies ends up being really simple compared to what a spawner can put out. Like, very little, like, armor options and whatnot. So that's just a little unfortunate, if you ask me. Oh yeah, I forgot I said it. Yeah, you can see it's got wooden swords as an option, but that's about it. Actually, I should probably give them an option to have tridents, to be honest. The other thing, the other limitation about oceans and these specific towers, I haven't figured out a good way to have them point with any other rotation. Basically, one of the fancier things I've done, so these towers are all normal, but let me find the shorter buildings. Holy moly, that's a lot of snow. Oh, I need to adjust so snow only really spawns on snow biomes. That's just one of those other adjustments I need to do. Yeah, these buildings. So, these smaller buildings actually only have one door, and specifically that door is always on land. But it can actually angle up to 4 different directions. But that takes a lot more work than just having these towers spawn in on a piece of land. So that type of thing might be a little rarer for me to incorporate into my towers, just because I'm lazy. But yeah, you can tell, like, this doesn't really match the biome too well. So there's a lot more I can do to improve and refine the detection of biomes. For example, I guess for mountains, I would probably detect both the snow block and the stone under it, and then just spawn a normal tower. Meanwhile, snowy, like, biomes with grass underneath or dirt would warrant spawning the snow castles a little more. I think that's about everything I wanted to talk about. I don't know if I'll condense this video down, or maybe I'll release a shorter one later. I'll probably have a release video which is a lot shorter, so thank you for watching this elongated demonstration of something I'm kind of excited for, because, yeah, I mean, I spent a little bit of time working on this, and it is really fancy, and I can't tell if this is just a forest so it won't spawn them, or if I outran it. I really need to fix that. I have tested this in survival mode and have never outrun the tower generator. Yeah, there it goes. But I definitely managed to do it in creative and spectator, just because of just how much faster you can move. I think I even tried it with horses, and I couldn't outrun it with horses. But you never know. Somebody might figure out how to glitch it, and that's what I want to prevent before I release even the basic version of this. See, I think I did it again. It's really weird. I don't entirely know why it happens. I just know it happens. If anybody actually has any hunches. I mean, yeah. Maybe it's just loading too slow. I mean, if that's the case, then that's mostly just a problem for people with computers as bad as mine, or people in, survival mode. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, I also wanted to add some underground dungeons, because I can, like, even though I'm using spread players to put on the surface, it's easy to just, like, set a height of, like, oh, 30 blocks, spawn a thing. The only thing I need to watch out for with that is making sure I do not do it somehow overlapping with an end portal. It's so incredibly rare that that might happen, but I still want to avoid it anyway. Especially because, like, these towers will spawn at least half as much as I'm doing in this demonstration, so the dungeons wouldn't spawn that often. But, yeah. My game's chugging a bit because I've loaded too many chunks, so that's probably a good spot to end the video. See ya.